Howdy, Possum Patty here along with little Titi. Titi. And we have another process video with the carving set and the carving blocks that I received from Beebeecraft to review. Come on along. The idea that I had in mind today was to make a stamp of dragon scales, because you know, in the back of my mind I've got this dragon journal going, and I already bought something to make the eye and I haven't done that yet, and I need to do a process video with these carving tools. So I was thinking maybe I can do a stamp in the shape of dragon scales, and then I can either use that stamp in the journal, or maybe I could actually like jelly print some paper with metallic paint and use the stamp on the paper. Not really sure how this is gonna come out, but let's get to it. The first stamp that I carved, and I can link this video below, was supposed to resemble sort of somewhat like a coffee cup stain or a teacup in this case, because I wanted to use it in my Tea Tuesday journal. And I used the oxide ink, which you can spray with water. So I wanted it to look kind of watery, like I spilled some coffee or tea. So I really did like how this one came out. And that's very free form, as you can see. Can't mess that one up. So I'm just checking my camera there. For the dragon scales, I'm not really sure what I'm going to be doing here. The set that I got from Beebeecraft has 4 cutters in it. It has a chisel, an angled chisel, a U shape, it's hard to show, and a narrow V shape. They come in a little plastic case. This set did come with some of these carving blocks, and I can link this set below. Plus I got an extra set of carving blocks, and I can link that below. So I have plenty of things to play with. And I don't know how I'm going to go about this. I'm not an expert by any means, but what I want to do is make some irregular scale-like shapes, not perfect like, you know, a fish, but maybe a couple of large ones sort of in the middle, kind of running off the edge, and some smaller ones. Now this is already looks like it's going to be too complicated for me to cut. So that might change. You know, like a snake skin or a lizard skin or alligator skin. Not so much like fish scales, so I wanted them to be a little irregular. Now, if I dig in here, this is actually the part that is not going to print. But I think that may be the easiest route to go. Yeah, I know this is going to get way too detailed, but my idea was to put a couple little lines sort of around the edge of each one of these scales, so that the center looked a little bit more three-dimensional. Okay, I'm never going to be able to carve out anything that small. I am not an expert stamp carver. No. So if I can do this, then you can do this, because, yeah, look how easy this one was. All right, so where the black lines are on this one, I'm going to cut out. Where the black lines were on this one, I wanted to leave. This is the U. I don't want the U. I want something narrow. That's the V. So if I want this to show, first thing I'm going to do is try, keep your fingers away, try to do a rounded line. It doesn't have to be perfect by any means. Maybe I need even a smaller tool than this, but this is what I have, so we'll go with it. You gotta watch out when you do those. And the ink will come off all over your fingers when you do this. But I don't work in gloves, so. Should I zoom in? I know I'm kind of far away. Hold on to your hats. Okay. I think this is my first step here, yeah, is to get a wider line all on one side of the scales. Sorry, I can't cut and talk at the same time. All right, so I've got a line there, and I've got a line there. And I'm going to make one here. And make a line here. And I think at one time I actually tried to carve mushrooms. But right now I really want to work more on like texture stamps, or something I can use for texture on a background, or like a mixed media, or something like that. And this doesn't have to come out perfect at all. If I'm just going to use it as a texture stamp. So I figured I will work within my abilities. Oops. And there's always going to be that oops. So I'm just going around this scale. And unless you want to edge on your design, you've got to get the little bit at the edge off. Okay, that one came out kind of thick, and that's okay. I might make this one a little thicker. So what if I move the rubber while I hold the tool? Kind of like cutting, right? With scissors and paper. You hold the scissors and you move the paper. Well, this may be a new discovery for me. This is working out better, though. See, now I don't want that point there, so that will come out. Okay, I'll worry about the edge later. Now I'll do a few more, and then I'll come back and I'll print it to show you the first step, how the first stage looks. I have a scrap piece of paper here. I have an ink pad. This is my old ink pad. It's kind of crumbling. And what I'm doing is just going to test this a little bit. See how this looks. Oh, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I don't know how much better it's going to get than that for the first try. But let's see. Let's wipe some of this black off because it will get on your fingers. let's see. So looking at the stamped image and looking at the stamp, I'm just going to go around here and find these little bits that I want to change. Like I want that to go all the way through. Fix this up over here a little bit. And I might make some texture marks inside the scales. I'm going to take the angle edge and just slice away some of these edge bits that I don't want on there. So this is black, so I want to remove that from there. I don't want to have an edge on this. Like a boundary. I don't want to have like a boundary line on that. Okay, now I'm going to go back to the V because I want to get rid of that point right there. Okay, now how would I put texture? I'm going to try to just dig up a little. Make it a little bit rough like that. Not go very deep. Just sort of marking up the edge. And hoping that'll give it more of a three-dimensional look. Or it might just make it look like I don't know how to carve. I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to try and get them all sort of going in the same direction. Alrighty, let's see what that's going to look like. I'm just trying to keep these first few carving experiments simple. And that way, hopefully I'll have more success. Okay, okay. So you can see how I added the little texture around the edges there, which makes it a little different than that. So just for giggles, I got out some Distress cracked pistachio oxide, and I stamped it on this, which is just cardstock. So I don't know how it's going to react with water, but we shall see. Just if I put a little tiny bit on there. So that's what it looks like. Gotta get way back with the sprayer. Well, I don't want to take the shape of the scales away though. Just want to kind of make them more watery. So let's just play for a few more minutes. Here is an old jelly plate that was handed down to me. And I've got some towels, and I've got to move some things out of the way. Let's move the cutting tools. Put them over there. All right, so I've got a couple of colors here, and I just wanted to see how I can play with this stamp on a jelly plate, because I didn't do this with the first one. I just did printing with it. So this is Iridescent Rich Bronze, which I thought would be a good dragon color. Don't put too much. And I thought I would add some of this phthalo green, yellow shade. Oops. All right. That might be a lot there. And I don't know about yellow oxide, but we'll see. Oops. Just a touch. All right. I could do this in a couple of steps maybe. Is this all going to mush together? Don't want it too mushed together. Okay, that looks like camo. That looks like camo. All right, so we're gonna that is a very juicy plate, so I might have to do a couple pulls on that, and this is a very juicy brayer. So let me get some paper to roll this off on. Okay, these are junk mail envelopes, which always work really well as clean-off, brayer clean-offs. Ooh, I like that. I like that better. Oh my gosh. Well, maybe that'll look different on paper. And then you can use these. This is Bed Bath & Beyond, right? In your trashies, or actually to make some ephemera out of. Okay, that looks good. That looks good. That looks good. All right, here's the paper. This is going to be too juicy. Too juicy. Sometimes you have to get back into the swing of things if you haven't done this for a while. Yeah, it's kind of dark. Kind of dark, kind of dark. This is just mixed media paper that I cut in half. Oh, that's interesting. How would this look with just... Okay, we're going to leave the yellow off. Oh, there's a little yellow still on there. I put just a little bit of bronze and a tiny touch of phthalo green, which is pretty strong. Okay, I put a lot less paint this time. All right, let's take the stamp. Oops. Yeah, I like that. And then I'm gonna clean the stamp off on this envelope. Ooh, can't wait to see what this looks like. I might have to cut some more paper. Yeah, once you start jelly printing, it's like, ooh, keep going, keep going, keep going. All right, let's see what this is gonna look like. Nice. Ooh, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. It's got that little bit of that bronze shine on there. And it's very textured. Very scaly looking. And certainly I can cut this into tags or some kind of ephemera pockets, journaling cards for a dragon journal. Do it again. All right, what if we do one that's just green? And then we'll do one that's just bronze. Just have too much fun. That's me just having too much fun. Phthalo is more of a like translucent color. Ooh, I wonder what would happen. Oh no, you're supposed to put the solid color down first and translucent on top, but let's see what happens here. Okay, don't leave your stamp flat down with paint on it on a piece of paper. No, that doesn't work. The paper will stick to it. Got to press it in there so you get the, don't make it too even. You want to get the scales, but you don't want to, you don't want to go like in a straight row up and down. Kind of overlap them a little bit. Fill in the areas. Ooh, look at that. Stamp this on here. Paper. All right, I already have to go cut some more paper. Ooh, I'm loving this one. Look at the texture on this. Got a little hint of bronze in there. That looks pretty scaly to me. Put it down on the floor. I like that better. I overlap the texture a little bit. I'll show them all at the end. So I overlap the texture a little bit more. I'm going to stop and cut some paper. So this is dried a little bit. So what I'm going to do is put another color on top of it. Do you want to do a lighter color? I don't know, I'll put some of this yellow oxide on there. See what it looks like. Is that enough? Don't need too much. I'm rolling the extra onto this envelope. Keep moving. Keep moving. Okay, now I want to pick up 2 layers of paint, so I'm pressing hard on this, kind of massaging it a little bit. Imperfectly perfect. I could put more layers over this. It doesn't matter that I didn't press hard enough in the middle because I can still cut this into different ephemera or put another layer over the top of it. Or just kind of leave it like that. Got a little bit of a grunge to it. Ooh. I wonder if I put a little tiny bit of bronze on top of that. Is it going to get too dark? Do I need a lighter color? I had gotten a whole bunch of these Liquitex soft body paints. They're very expensive. Like this little jar would have been $10 and I got it for $2. And it goes quite a long way, especially when you're just jelly printing. And this is dioxide purple, which now gave me a purple finger. Now this might totally mess that up. Or maybe I'll... Ooh, look at that purple. Yummy, 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 yummy. I need another wipe off envelope. Oh, maybe I'll do this. What's life without a purple dragon? I'll have to clean that well after. So I just have one color on here. I just have purple. This probably will not be a monochronic dragon journal, so might as well make a bunch of different color dragon scales, right? Right? I'm not pressing very hard, but that's okay. Let's try this one again. Let's see if I can do a better job. I think it works a little better if you clean the stamp off in between each stamp. I could clean it off on this, can't I? Okay, let's give this a go. Oh, wow. This one came out much richer than this one. But I can cut these into tags and cards and different things. I didn't do a very good job of stamping there, but you see when I clean it off, it does leave a better imprint. Time for a little recap, as I have been working on this on and off all day. I'm making sure my paint bottles are closed. I washed off my stamp. I did not get all of the acrylic paint off of it, but that's okay. Cleaned off my brayer and my jelly plate. Somebody said to condition this with baby oil, and that's why I bought some baby oil. I will do that after. Well, I kept printing and printing and printing until until it was like time for lunch, and then it's okay, stop. So the ones that I liked the best are the ones where I kept putting colors on top of colors. Now I like this one because it didn't get too dark, but yet the little dragon scales have a darker outline on it, and I like the way it's greener and yellower in spots. So I left this paper whole just to show you, and I made tags. I've been in a tag mood lately, haven't I? So this is almost like that other paper, and I love this. I love this. To me, this is a success. I know it's on the grungy side, but we're thinking dragons here, right? So, and this one got a little muddled, but it does have some shiny bronze bits on it, and you still can see scales. Now, when I hold tag like that, they look really three-dimensional, don't they? So I do like that one too. And this one, I love these bits where the green shows through the purple. And I left it lighter in some spaces because that didn't bother me at all. But these scales have a lot of texture in them. And like I said, I love the way those came out. So those were the 3 big tags that I made. On this size paper, I got like 1 big tag and a couple of little ones because it was just a little too big to do it that way. So I made one that way, and then I made a couple of little ones. Or I made 2 of these medium-sized tags. And this is kind of a mix of the purple and the yellow oxide. But it's hard to see on this one. There are little tiny peaks of green. Little tiny peaks of green, which I love on this one. And this one I just left with maybe 2 layers of purple on it. Just to have a couple that were brighter. But I do love the way they came out with this kind of lighter in the middle and darker around the edge. Gives it more of a 3-dimension look. On this one you can see the green a lot better on this one. And I love the way the different colors came out like that. And what I was doing on this one was just putting dots of the 2 colors and rolling it, not to a point where everything got mixed together. This one has a lot of phthalo green in it, but I just left them a little bit brighter. You can see this is a little bit more just the phthalo and the bronze, where this has the phthalo and the oxide in it. But look at that scale right there. Isn't that awesome? Like I said, this was just rolling out a color, stamping it with the stamp, making a pull, putting on another color, stamp, 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 make another pull, and just doing that 3 or 4 times till I got it somewhere where I could see the scales looking like that. I really like the grungy ones more than the light colored ones, but I left a couple light colored ones. You never know what I'm going to need when I do the journal. And then these are the little ones. Look at the color on that one. Look at how the scales came out. There's a whole bunch of little ones because I didn't want to waste any of the paper. Look at that. Look at that. Love it. Love it. Here's a piece of the purple. And I love the little tiny peaks of green. And look at this one. Look at those scales. Awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. This one doesn't have a lot of distinct scaling in it, but that's okay. The colors are good. This one you can see some scales in there. It's almost like I took the dragon and printed the dragon on the jelly block, right? So they're all kind of messed up a little bit. Oh, here's another one. See, this has got the purple and the oxide and just little tiny peaks of green in there. So to me, this was quite successful. So this was the jelly plate printing. And I kind of lost where I did my stamping. Well, I'll show you this. So this was the stamping on cardstock. And this was the first, and this was the second, and this was in green. And this is spraying it with the oxide. Kind of like that, though. And sometimes I like my clean-off envelopes better than I do the pages I stamp. I was thinking to myself, what if I stamped with the envelopes and used the mixed media paper as the clean-off pages? But I can still make something out of these. Of course, they'll go into one of my trashies if I don't. So I was cleaning off the brayer and then cleaning off the stamp. So one thing that I discovered when I was stamping, I was using the towel at first. You can see here. So I would stamp on the jelly plate and then wipe it with the towel and then stamp again and wipe it with the towel. Well, I found out I liked the effect better if I stamped on the jelly plate and then stamped on the paper and then went back to the jelly plate. So you can see a lot of stamping on these with the different colors. So it just gave a better impression on the paper that I was pulling. So these are just my clean off papers. That'll wind up in a trashy somewhere. Oh, and my stamping. Oh, that can go into a trashy too, right? So look at that. All right, so we'll put that aside. And I've got this all set. And so this was my experiment in carving a stamp with my tools from Beebeecraft to make a texture stamp to do gel plate printing with. And I think for what I wanted, it was a success. And I just want to thank everybody for coming along today. Bye-bye.